Natalie here. Today's training is all about celery juice. So if you're in my community as a coaching client, you already got a big rant about it this morning in our Slack channel, but I'm going to just take a bit of that and talk about it here. So celery juice, right? It's this fad that picked up through the medical medium community, and it's something that I thought or hoped would die off. However, it's something I'm still hearing about. So not a week goes by that I'm not being asked by a client or by someone out in the world my thoughts on celery juice. And so here we go. We're going to dive in a little bit. So one of the big things that I want to talk about really it's just this one compound called Friano that are found inside of celery juice. It's the same compound that we have identified in grapefruit to be the factor or the compound that really shifts the body's metabolism of medication. So oftentimes when you're taking an anti-anxiety med or a blood pressure medication, you're told to not consume grapefruit because it has the ability to upregulate your body's metabolism of that drug, thus enhancing the effects. So same thing with celery juice, guys. You have that same compound. And if you're drinking large doses of celery juice on an ongoing basis, like right, most people drink large servings in the morning, and you are taking medication, this is something to be conscious of, right? It could have contraindication. But what I really want to talk about is the impact of these compounds, the Furanocoumarins, on detoxification. So when we look at detoxification, there are two phases. Phase one is when the body releases toxins from the cells into the bloodstream. And at this point in time, they remain in a fat-soluble state as they roam around the body as a free radical with the potential to cause more damage inside of other tissue. Now, phase two is whenever we conjugate those toxins, turning them into something that's water soluble and able to be excreted through urine, sweat, and stool. Now, phase one, phase two are often occurring at different rates in people. And so the idea behind doing, say, a food as medicine based detox or a real food detox that I like to promote is that we're really striving to get both of these on, the same level. Now, when we look at celery juice and these compounds, what can happen is that they actually inhibit phase one detox. So if you're someone that is getting benefit from celery juice, you're like, you know what, it's great. It's not to your advantage likely. So what could be happening is that you are a phase one, like someone who has high phase one and low phase two ability. And so what's happening is that with those Friano you're actually inhibiting your ability to release toxins from the body into the bloodstream. This is not ideal, right? We don't want to hold on to toxins. We want to actually continue releasing them at that rate, but to upregulate phase two so that we can actually excrete them from the body, reducing the free radical damage. I hope that makes sense. So to put this into an analogy, right? You're at the grocery store. Let's think of the conveyor belt as phase one, and then the processing of the groceries by the cashier is phase two. Back up. If you're someone who has like high level phase one, you're someone who's kind of dumping all the groceries on the conveyor belt, and then you have a really slow, right, processing or cashier who's processing the groceries. So we don't really want to slow down phase one. We want to put it at like a normal rate. Okay, we're unloading, but the cashier is actually speeding up, right? The cashier is able to maintain its ability to kind of stay level with phase one. So we're releasing toxins from the cells, and then they're getting conjugated and excreted, right? So if you are someone who has that high level phase one, it's not to your advantage, to repeat myself, to reduce it. You want to keep it high functioning, but you want to increase phase two detox. And that's through things like cysteine, glutathione, sulfur, right? Which can really be found, these compounds can be found in things like a lot of your animal proteins, as well as organ meats and raw dairy. But also your sulfur vegetables, so the cruciferous vegetables, those are really big ones as well. And so consuming foods like that, if you follow my detox, then you can basically see the full list. But the idea is to consume foods rich in those compounds to upregulate phase two and not inhibit phase one. And that's kind of my thing with it, guys. That's really the big thing, is that it is a suppressant to detoxification. And because we live in a world where we are being exposed to so many toxins on a daily basis, I do not advocate anything that's going to suppress detoxification. I want to upregulate, okay? Upregulate detoxification. And we also get a lot of kickback as a functional medicine practitioner applied to nutrition. I get a lot of kickback that there's no reason to upregulate detox or to promote a detox. However, I completely disagree with this. Yes, we have organs who detoxify as their primary function. Fantastic. However, because we have such an onslaught of exposure to these toxins, we need to help the body upregulate those processes because they can become dampened or weakened over time. So I like to do that through real food, using very strategically certain foods rich in certain compounds to kind of get that detox process leveled. If you have any questions, guys, on celery juice, I would be happy to hear them out. I'm sure I'll get a lot of kickback on this as like, it works really well for me and da 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 da. I'm happy to get those, right? I'm happy to have those conversations. So yeah, and also just want to be very clear. I'm not invalidating your experience of getting benefit from it. I'm just kind of saying, is it really to your advantage, right? Is it really to your advantage? Because likely you're only getting benefit because you're suppressing the toxin release and you don't have as many free floating toxins. So anyways, that's just my 2 cents this week on our training. Again, drop any questions or comments below and I will happily respond to those. Until then, I hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday and I'll be back next week with another training. Cheers.